right. Well, you know, if you come back this many times, either people like you or you're a really cheap date. One of those two things is true. I was driving down the road. There was an accident. Truck was turned over. The man had been ejected, an elderly man, been decapitated. Shortly after that, a car pulled up full of just good country, simple folks. The police officer covered the body. Those simple folks got out and said, is that Uncle Joe's truck? He was coming this way. Is our Uncle Joe okay? And I know that police officer, not thinking, reached down and grabbed that head. Said, is that your Uncle Joe? Family looked at it and said, no, sir, he's not that tall. So I told that in the hospital. You have no idea how much trouble I got in. So it's not true, by the way, okay? Don't repeat that. I wear a number of hats. Most of you know I'm a spine surgeon. That's how I make a living. I'm also a husband, a father. I'm a deacon. I'm not a very good deacon, but I am a deacon. I'm an associate clinical professor at a university. Sounds important. It's really not. I am also a gentleman farmer. I have over 5,000 hardwood trees, an orchard, and a vineyard. I was cutting some dead wood with a chainsaw, and something happened to me that's never happened before. I threw my back out. I'm laying in the dirt with this sharp pain coursing through my body. I reach up and I cut off the chainsaw. And one thought now permeates my mind. Mercy, this really hurts. All those people, all those years, they were telling the truth. It changed me. And the next week, I'm in the office, and I see a guy. And he goes, you know, Doc, I was working out in the yard, and I threw my back out. He goes, man, it's killing me. I said, sweet Alabama, I know what you're talking about. I'm going to put you on crack cocaine and heroin. I was a lot more sympathetic to pain. It changed me as a physician. Tonight, I'd like to try to change you. If you're a skeptic, could you give the words a fair hearing? And if your faith is a little unstable, I'd like to reinforce those foundations. You see, this evening, I'd like to talk to you on why I'm not an atheist. Now, you listen to me. If you have never pondered the veracity of your beliefs, there's either something wrong with you or something wrong with your beliefs. There was a day in my life that I questioned everything I believed. And I'm telling you, I'd like to give you some of my conclusions. Everyone in this room has certain deep intrinsic needs you cannot do without. Everybody needs love. Every man needs appreciation, and nobody lives well without a purpose. Your purpose may be focused on a job or career. It is a question that's asked by man all the time. What's my purpose? Why am I here? It may be centered on a sport, a hobby. It may be as lofty as helping in an orphanage or some homeless shelter. It may be as superficial as seeing how much money you can accumulate. But I'm telling you, nothing will destroy a man quicker than a purposeless existence. If you were employed to count the grains of sand in a cup, only to start over every day, there'd be no satisfaction in that job. The hourly wage, no matter what it is, will not bring satisfaction. The monotony would overcome the salary. You were designed for a purpose. Does it not seem twisted? Is it not paradoxical to you that a universe that supposedly came by a series of random, purposeless events, produced an entire planet of beings that long for a purpose. Everything produces after its own kind, and this does not fit. Why do I have this need that my time on this planet count? Why do I have this hunger? Why do I long for a purpose in a supposedly purposeless universe? I'm sorry. It's one of the reasons I'm not an atheist. I'm 49 years old, and I've examined my life. Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living. I've looked at what brings satisfaction, what brings fulfillment. Some possession, a growing investment, a career. In my case, an operation well done brings satisfaction because of the life it affects, not necessarily the monetary gain. And I have concluded that all of life is based on relationships. Everything else is fleeting. There is no possession that brings lasting joy. The most ornate mansion is a mere cave without people. The most sumptuous dinner is a tasteless meal with a table of one. It's my wife. It's my son, my daughter, mom and dad, friends and family. They give life to life. The politician George McGovern, the one-time presidential candidate, the Democratic senator, he wrote a book about his daughter, Terry. She was an alcoholic. She battled it for years. And one day in a drunken stupor, fell into a snowbank and froze to death. He searched her diary for answers. And he found out he wasn't quite the dad he thought he was. And I've been told that he made the following statement. He says, "Gentlemen, I would give everything I own." And he pauses. And he says, "And I mean everything. Just to have another day with Terry, to tell her how much I love her." Why is it that only relationships satisfy our deepest needs? In God's economy, we are to love people and use things. The world says, love things, use people. Only relationships can satisfy. I believe it was put there by Him, for Him. And it's one of the reasons I'm not an atheist. I was passing through a small town out in the country. I was going a little too fast, and I got pulled over by the police and issued a ticket. A law had been established on how fast vehicles could go. I violated it. A higher authority had determined that law. I just happened to discover it that night. The laws of nature and physics are very similar. You ever wonder why the world behaves the way it does? Why are there math equations that can be written down describing our universe? The law of thermodynamics, optics, hydraulics, the list goes on. Einstein's theory, E equals mc squared. Does that not seem awfully simple for such a complex theory? Scientists do not invent these laws. They discover them, just as I discovered the speeding limit that night. How did the universe come so precisely packaged? Is it not odd that some formula can describe the physical properties of our universe? Does it not seem strange that all these laws, from gravity to the conservation of energy to the expansion of a heated gas, are all interrelated? Why does dead matter follow these rules? Why does atoms obey these laws? Where do these laws come from? The laws of physics cry out of rational thought. It looks to me somebody has monkeyed with the math. An authority established how fast I could drive through that small town. Just some authority has established the laws of nature. It is one of the reasons I'm not an atheist. I was walking through my woods, live out in the country, and I found a baseball there in the woods. If you were with me and you said, "Where'd the baseball come from?" I said, "Nowhere. It just happened." You would not believe that. With some incredulous look on your face, you'd go, it just didn't happen. It has a smooth leather covering. It's got precise stitching. It's got words on the side. Huh. Does the size of that ball matter? What if it was the softball? Beach ball, basketball, volleyball? No. The size is immaterial. It has nothing to do with how the baseball got into the woods. Either someone, something put it there, more than likely my son. But what is true for a small round ball is also true for a large round ball.